I was hanging out at the club one day where I had a gig, changing strings, that sort of thing, just checking out my rig. When this old man comes stumbling in, and he sat down at the bar, I couldn't help but notice how he looked at my guitar. His clothes were old and ragged. His shoes were all worn through. It looked like even the patches had been patched a time or two. He swayed a bit there on the stool. I thought that he might fall. It seemed to me a wonder he could get around at all. Then my eyes fell on his hands like some old ancient vine, knotted and gnarled and nicked and scarred, but his skin was brown and fine. I thought to make conversation. Couldn't think of what to say, so I held out my old guitar and I said, "Old man, you play?" Well, he looked at me real solemn, so I ripped off a lick. Thought I'd entertain him, and I gave it a fancy trick. He said, "Well, I used to. Don't know if I still could. Nowadays, I mostly listen. You play that thing real good." Well, as I proudly smiled to thank him, he pulled up a stool, and I thought, he's going to try it. Bless his heart, the poor old fool. Well, he strapped on my old guitar, and he switched on my amp, and he passed me like a pay car passing a roadside tramp. Those strings were like a lover he hadn't touched in years, and his music went right through me and filled my eyes with tears. Then he threw his head back and sang of days gone by, folks he knew, and crops he grew, and love that he saw die. He made the past come plumb alive like a glittering parade that came and lived and disappeared in some bygone evening shade. Then when the strings fell silent, I sat filled with awe and shame. But he smiled at me with kindness, and so I said, "Mister, what's your name?" He said, "Oh, it don't matter. I'm no one you might know. I'm just a broken down old guitar man used to play here long ago. Saturday night suppers and juke joints. That's how I made my pay. Now that's all gone, but yeah, I reckon I had my day." Then he pushed his stool back and slowly stood to go, handed me back my old guitar and wished me well for my next show. I just watched him leave, but I believe I'll never be the same. Thanks to an old-time guitar man, the player without a name.